Okay, good day, everybody. I'm really excited about introducing Richard Mckeown to you today. It's been a while since we last met, Richard. I think it was in Cancun in 2019. And since
It
then,
was.
yeah, and since then, all we've been doing is Zoom, right? So we're looking forward to our next meeting sometime.
Indeed. You'll have to come to Ireland, or I'll have to go to South Africa. So
Yeah, actually, I missed the opportunity of meeting you earlier this year when you went to Paris, right?
yeah, we're in Paris in June. Great meeting. So
South Africans, it's so hard to travel and get a visa in time. So I was trying to make it, but that didn't happen. So Richard, I've got Andrew with us today. Andrew works with us and he runs our franchise, and hopefully he's going to join in on our conversation. So I just want to, as we said, we want to talk a little bit about you today, understand your story. So tell us, where are you located, and a little bit about how a bit about your family and a little bit about yourself.
hey, Andrew. I am located in Ireland. So I'm just south of Dublin, about 20 miles south of Dublin. So I'm pretty much in Dublin. I was born and raised here. Moved away for a few years, but we can talk about that later. And I've been back in Ireland about 20 years now. I'm married. I've got 2 young children, and we live in a little town right beside the sea, which is great. And we're surrounded by the mountains, so we're very lucky. We've got the best of everything. Got Dublin on our doorstep, but the countryside and the sea, so it's great.
Yeah, sea and mountains. That's pretty cool. I mean, in South Africa, that's where we're going to George and Western and Cape Town. That's got pretty much some of that there.
No, it's really is very, very pretty. We're very lucky where we live. So.
Lovely. So tell me, Richard, what did you do before you started with WSI? Your background there, work-wise.
My background. So I've worked in various marketing roles for longer than I like to think, 20 plus years at this stage. So. I actually went to college in Ireland, and I was lucky enough to get a green card when I was in college. So when I finished college, I moved to New York, and I worked with a market research agency there as a project manager, managing lots of different research projects. And then I moved to work for the Wall Street Journal, and that was really my first kind of entry point into online. I helped them develop their paid website. So before that, it hadn't been behind a paywall, and also developed their advertising business. And then I moved to Ireland. I moved over to the retail world and worked with this big English supermarket called Tesco, and headed up their customer insight team, their local marketing team, their loyalty program. Did a stint for them in the UK, and then I moved to a startup agency, which was around helping companies use their customer data, which is a real passion point of mine. And when I was doing that, I always wondered what smaller companies, how they use digital marketing. And I started looking around at different business models. I was going to go out by myself, and that's when WSI entered the picture. So.
Cool. So that's what led you to become a WSI franchise.
Yeah, so I'd actually loved it going out by myself, but in the previous startup that I'd done, while Dublin's a great place, it has a lot of, it's got all the Facebooks, Airbnbs, LinkedIn. So actually trying to get digital marketing resources very, very expensive in Dublin. And when I was doing the business model, I was like, it's very expensive and very risky to start a business like that without any support, because you're going to need web developers, SEO people, PPC experts, and while I can bring the overview and the big strategic piece, I didn't want to get into the nitty gritty of doing the day-to-day managing the business. So that's what really appealed, or that's why WSI appealed to me.
Yeah. So, Richard, how long have you been with WSI now?
I'm with WSI 4.5 years now.
4.5 years.
Just over 4.5 years. So.
And you've only managed to go to the one conference, is that right?
I was actually at another one what was before Cancun? Montreal.
Oh, Montreal. Okay, that was the one I missed.
Yeah, so I had just joined.
Okay.
So I think I'd only finished training like a month or two, and then I came back to Montreal. So I did a trip to Toronto and then a trip to Montreal. It was great. First few months I got to see Canada.
That's right. Yeah, it's great. And normally, just meeting all these people, it's quite a lot of fun, but we've missed out on a few conferences. So based on like the last few, the number of years you've been in here, what's sort of the biggest value that you see you've got, out of a franchise or out of the WSI network?
Probably a two-part answer. So at the start, it was the training and the process that a company like WSI gives you. So it teaches you how to go out and prospect and sell the business, and also just gives you the confidence that you can go out and do a good job, that you actually know more than you think you do. But you also got this massive big company behind you. So it's not just, Richard Mckeown. It's, I'm part of WSI, the world's largest digital marketing network. We're in, over 80 countries with, over 1,000 consultants. It just really helps you bring the power of the brand to a local market. So, and then the second part is really just the, probably thrown on from the training, but the education and the network. So I know that, if I have a problem, there's someone else in this network who's had a similar problem, and I can reach out to them, and someone's always going to come back and help me solve that problem, which is, it's priceless. It saves you lots of time and lots of heartache. So,
absolutely.
So, Richard, that what you mentioned there is one of the core aspects of WSI, that you go out into the marketplace, looking and having the support behind you. Is there besides your past experience that you mentioned earlier, is there anybody else that influenced you to start your own business? Have you had your own business before?
I think actually going back, my dad was self-employed, and my grandparents were self-employed on both sides. So I've always wanted to start my own business. I actually looked at starting a baby food business at one stage. When I finished college, I also looked at starting a fast food, past a restaurant about 30 years ago. I looked at another restaurant when I was in America. So I've always kind of wanted to start my own business, wanted to be my own boss. So I've always had that drive, but there was never one particular person who I, said, okay, I can go talk to them about this. I've lots of other people since I've started this business who I've met through the business who are, self-employed, or managing their own businesses. And, it's great to have that network now. So
yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, as you say. I also, listening to the restaurant thing, when I was in corporate, it was always I was going to start a restaurant, and I sort of attempted, and then I didn't have the courage to do it at the end of the day. And then finally you get retrenched, right? And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then you have to go and do something, and that was after 30 years, and then so it's a different story. Like how I got in was obviously forced to look for something. And didn't want to go back to corporate, but when you leave corporate like you have, and you make a decision to go into your own, sometimes that's quite brave, So
it is. It's one of those scary moments. But I think that's that was really one of the things that attracted me to WSI was the initial training, because I'd never had a sales job. Although on corporate you're always selling different pieces to try and get approval for this budget or this marketing campaign or this ad campaign, but it's a little bit different going out talking to companies that you never met before, and trying to sell yourself and your services to help them grow their business. And actually really the first week or two's training in Toronto, I probably hadn't appreciated before joining how valuable that was going to be. I still use a lot of the bits that I learned from Neil there on, you know, a day-to-day, weekly basis. So it was definitely well worth the investment. So
Your typical, I mean, now that you are a business owner and have been for a while, is your typical work week change from the corporate life? I mean, has it got busier, or you have more time for yourself?
A mixture of both. So I guess it's always nice being your own boss, so you can decide your own hours and your own terms. And that was one of the things that really attracted me to the business, rather than being, you know, at someone else's beck and call. So, you know, if someone needs to make a statement to the market, or there was a new ad, or something went wrong, you know, you never knew when the phone was going to go off. And I guess I can manage the work week a lot better. I can manage, you know, when you've been doing something for 4 or 5 years, you know, the peaks and troughs. You know, the start of the month is going to be busy, and you know, people want to see, you know, how their performance has been, what we've delivered in the last month. But then as the month, you know, as you get into the middle and the end part of the month, you can do more, you know, strategic thinking about where you need to go with different projects, how you want to grow your own business. So, you know, you can manage it. There is times where it's busy, but you're always going to have that. But I guess the other nice thing about this business is, you know, as long as you got a broadband connection, you can literally work from anywhere, which is brilliant. So
Definitely advantages.
Yeah. Particularly around holiday time and summer and stuff like that. So, you know, we go to Portugal during the summer for a couple of weeks. You know, you can't take all that time off when you're self-employed. Yeah. But actually, I can log in for an hour or two in the morning or lunchtime at siesta time, and you know, as long as I've got my laptop, I can keep in touch and make sure that everything's ticking over. So it's brilliant.
That is great. Being in the network for a while, have you had any highlights that you want to share that you maybe think were worthwhile?
Well, the business has grown year on year, which is you know, that's brilliant. That's amazing. There's been some great success stories as well with clients where, you know, we've helped businesses that were really struggling with the internet and trying to sell online, and now we've helped them grow their businesses. You know, we've got businesses where we're bringing in B2B businesses where we're bringing in 20 to 25 solid leads every week, you know, which really helps them grow their business, and you actually become part of their team. So, you know, you become their trusted expert on digital marketing, and there's lots of those examples, which is always great. It's always nice to, you know, that's one of the other reasons I got into business was to help people and help them grow their business. That's a big passion point, and understand how we can, you know, what their issues are and how we can help solve them, and we've managed to do that, which is great. So.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think that's the rewarding side of the WSI group. You've got the backing and the network to be able to help other businesses improve. On the other side of that, any obstacles that you've overcome in your years with WSI that need to be mentioned that would be worthwhile mentioning?
I think, you know, with something like digital marketing and something that's always changing and new technologies, there's always going to be obstacles. So, you know, you've always got to use or learn different new technologies, so different things that websites are built on, or, you know, some people use HubSpot, some people use Salesforce. So you're always learning and you're always trying to stay ahead. But actually, you know, having Francois, yourself, Andrew, Mariana, you know, teams of people like that to help, you know, you can always find someone who's, as I said earlier, who's probably had the same problem as you, or if they haven't had the exact same problem, at least they've had something similar, and they can point you in the right direction to say, look, have you tried this or that kind of thing. And, you know, people in the network are very giving of their time. And, you know, I think, you know, I might say to Francois here, can you help me with this Salesforce issue? He might be like, no, actually, you know who you need to talk to? You need to talk to so-and-so in Canada, which is brilliant. You know, so if someone can't help you, they'll point you in the right direction of someone who probably can. So
Yeah, I've seen that, on our Facebook work group that we all on.
Yeah, yeah.
And you've got 800-900 consultants that are very active on there, and you just go out there with a question and say, I'm struggling with this, or I've met a prospect in this industry. What's the best approach? And I think just knowing that you can draw on that, and the amazing thing is, because we global, there's always somebody online sometime. Because it's not just the 8 to 5 thing, because we work a lot with the Canadians and that, and you can just see 8-9 hours later, you can still get some questions and answers, which is brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. And, there is thousands and thousands of years of digital marketing experience within this network. So, there's people like Francois who've been in it for, 20...
A long time, A long time.
20 plus years.
Yeah.
And, there's people with different experiences in all walks of life. So, if I had a baby company that wanted to help selling, bottles or some sort of feeding cushion, I guarantee you I could find someone else in the network within an hour or two who's got a similar client somewhere else in the world, and then I can I can meet them, have a virtual coffee, and we can I can get their experience of what works and what doesn't work, which is great to talk to people who you're not actually competing with on a day-to-day basis. So
it's amazing, when you look at all the projects that we've done, as a group, as a network. It's tens of thousands, and I don't think there's one industry or one e-commerce site that hasn't been touched that someone can give you, advice on, which is brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, and it can be on the website, can be on how to try and get something ranking from an SEO perspective. What works on PPC for certain industries, what doesn't work. You're better trying to do something on social media. The amount of knowledge out there or within the network is vast. It's brilliant. So.